everyone, so I thought I'd take advantage of this introduction time. It's Clyde at Peppermint Soap, and I just wanted to show you how I made the embeds for this soap today. So I used this Brambleberry mini silicone loaf mold, and I poured thin layers of melt and pour, white, red, and green. Actually, I wanted them to look lighter for my soap top, so I alternated with white between every color. And then you think, how would I turn these into stars like that? Well, I just take my knife, pinky, some of you know pinky, and I cut a sliver of that off. So now I have this, and I have inherited this cutter. I don't know where to find something like that, but one day I was looking at that and I thought, hey, I can just use that as like a little cutter. And I cut through these, and I found the best way to do this is to cut several, and you'll see what's going to happen. I'll do 3. So then I have 3 locked in here, and I take this cap from my spray bottle and I just push them out like this, and the broadness of that pushes them out without separating the layers, because as careful as you are, sometimes this happens, but more often than not, they come out okay. So if you've used melt and pour, you know that you have to spray between layers, otherwise they won't stick, but sometimes they still break apart. But anyway, I have made enough of these for the soap, so you'll see how I will put that on top of the soap that I kind of changed up every year. This time I'm going to pipe the top, and then I'm going to put 3 stars per bar. So let's get started with that. Okay, I'm soaking at about 72 degrees, and to save a little time, since there's a lot of stuff to do, I've already blended my oils and my milk and peeling clay, and I'm ready to add my lye. Everything's about 72 degrees. And I've made this before. I don't think I made a video of it last year because it was pretty similar to how I did it before, but I'm going to change it up a little so it'll be new for this video. Pretty similar though. Just to emulsification. The gingerbread cookie portion of this soap accelerates a little bit, and the peppermint frosting part really slows down trace. So it's a bit of a tricky one, but I'm used to it. I'm going to pour 2 different containers of white, and this part I'm going to mix first is the gingerbread portion, and let's get the fragrance in there. I'm going to get my titanium dioxide in here too. It'll turn brown, but with some of this titanium dioxide, it'll be not so dark. It'll be hopefully a nice gingerbread color. Okay, let me stir that out. There's some air trapped in the head of the blender, so thought I tapped it out, but I'll stir all those bubbles out. I can see them popping as I stir. And I have these little bits of, to show you one of them, cut these little wedges, and I coated them in some mica. So it's going to color the batter a little bit too, but it's okay because it's going to turn brown, you won't even see it. But hopefully it'll add a nice effect around these embeds. And these are cold process embeds. Okay, So I'm going to pour some of this into the mold. I'm going to pour about half of this in the mold. And then for my smaller amount of white, I think I need less than that. I'm going to add some of my peppermint essential oil. I'm going to add some more of the unscented batter to this red. Just a little bit of that. Switching to a whisk. And that's just going to be a little in the pot swirl here, in the cup swirl. Give that a little bit of a stir. I don't want everything to push through, so I'm going to break the fall of that a little. So one thing I learned by looking at the previous time that I made this is that that center part was a little bit too wide, so I made sure I made less of this center part this time. And I'm going to get the rest of this gingerbread part in there. You can see what I said about it getting kind of thick. I'm used to that. It's happened every single time. And it smells so delicious. Okay, then this ends up being a good thing for my design because I like it to be about this consistency, to put those little grooves down the length of it. And so if it wasn't this consistency, it wouldn't hold. It's a nice like butterscotch color right now, but it'll turn hopefully just like gingerbread when it cures. I switched to a smaller spoon so I can get some other sizes of those grooves in here. Okay, so now you can see how liquid that white part still is. This one still needs some essential oil. It also needs the titanium dioxide. It smells like gingerbread and peppermint in here. It smells great. Okay, now I have some time on my hands because I'm going to wait till this sets up a little so that I can pipe on the top. That's one thing I'm going to do differently than the last time. So one thing I've learned from the past is that I've often not let this set up enough. And so the details of the piping tip, I'm going to use a star tip, is not as, it doesn't hold its little details because I'm too impatient. Just because that peppermint really slows this down too, so I'm going to have to just pause the video until this sets up a little more. I'll be right back. So let's get this soap in there. And this is a Wilton 1M star tip, looks like that. Well, the camera stopped on me, so I can't go back and recreate it at this moment in time, but I can show you what I did do. And after I finished piping, I just placed my stars in the top, added some glitter, and then I said, thanks for watching, everybody, and I thought the camera was running. Anyway, here's what it looks like, and then we'll get right on with the cut. Okay, let me cut the end piece off this gingerbread and peppermint frosting soap. And if all goes as planned, the fragrance that turns this potentially a dark brown will turn to a nice gingerbread brown, which is kind of a beigey brown. So these are the cold process balls that I cut in little slivers, and then I put some gold and red mica, dry mica on them, and shook them in a container so that they would get a little bit of an outline. And I think it unifies it with the dark red and the white frosting in the middle. And you can see the loops of where I made those little grooves in this. And just hope that I spaced these embeds on top so that every bar has them. Usually I pre-mark the mold and then I used a different mold at the last minute, so. Oh, and did I tell you how good this smells? It's like the smell of spices and the gingerbread and the ginger and then the peppermint up on top. Thought that the peppermint would be compatible with the gingerbread a long time ago when I made my first version of this. And it works really well. You know, I like that very white color of the frosting that I wouldn't have gotten if I mixed the gingerbread fragrance with it too, because it really does this color. Didn't really want really brown frosting on this. This recipe is a pretty big bar, but you know, plus the embeds adds a little bit more volume to each bar, plus these embeds. And it looks like the internal embeds are scattered pretty nicely throughout the loaf so far. And I made this area a little more narrow than my past versions of this. And you can look back. I'll give a little link to my previous versions of this. I think I've got about 3 different versions of this on my channel somewhere. And every time I did it, I changed it a little bit. So far the spacing of the embeds is working out Nice. I'm glad I piped the top too. I really like that. I think the top is a little more interesting too with the added embeds. Thank you for watching. We'll have another holiday soap next week. Not as elaborate as this one. I already know what I'm going to do. It was fun soaps to make. Perfect. I have to just cut that edge off. Alright, thanks for watching and subscribing, and thanks for all the comments too, and we'll see you for another video and soap next week. Thanks everybody. Bye.